Okay, so today what I'm going to show you is the use of this flow chart to help you work out where the pluses and minuses go in our factorising monic quadratic equations. So I've got four equations here, one with a plus here and a plus here, one with a minus on the left and a plus on the right, two minuses and then a plus and a minus. We can divide those into two groups. If firstly we look at the constant at the end, we can divide them into pluses and minuses, and that's where we want to start. So when we've got an equation, let's take a fairly straightforward equation, x squared minus 8x plus 15. So the first thing that we look at is the sign that precedes the constant, so at the end. If that's a positive, the first question says, what is the sign before the constant? So up here, it's before the 7. So if it's a plus, or if it's positive, we go to the left. If it's a negative, we go to the right. So in this case, it's positive, so we go left. Then we look at if that means that both the signs are the same. So in our brackets, we know that both of our signs are going to be the same. They're either both going to be positive or both going to be negative. So the next thing we need to look at is what is the sign before the coefficient of x. So the coefficient of x is the number just before the x, not the x squared, just the x. And we're looking for the sign. So we're looking for the positives before the constant, and now we're looking for the sign before the coefficient of x. Now in this case, it's minus, so that means that in our bracket, both of our signs will be negative. So we're going down here, this is a minus, so both of our signs will be negative. So we know what our signs are. We look here now for our factors of 15, so 3 and 5 are obviously our factors, so minus 3 and minus 5, and that's where our factors are. You can do the factor part before or at the end. In this case, I just did it at the end. So let's look at another equation. X squared minus 10x minus 11. Now you can see straight away that this one's different because the sign before the constant is negative. So when we go to our first question, what is the sign before the constant? It's negative, so we go down this way. That means that in our brackets, one of our signs is going to be positive and one's going to be negative. Now we need to work out which one is going to be positive and which one's going to be negative. We know that our factors of 11 are obviously going to be 1 and 11 because it's a prime number. We just have to work out which is positive and which is negative. There's a really simple way. We look at the sign before the coefficient of x. In this case it's negative. If that's negative, it means that if it's negative, the largest number will be negative. So in this case our factors are 1 and 11. Our largest number is 11, so it's going to be 11 is going to be negative and 1 is going to be positive. Let's have a look at one more. X squared plus 8x minus 33. Again, we've got our constant, which is negative, so we're going down this side of the flow chart. So in our brackets, we know that as soon as we go down this negative sign, one's going to be positive and one's going to be negative. Our factors of 33, obviously 1 and 33, which is not going to equal 8, but 3 and 11 will. So to get plus 8, if we go here, our positive before the coefficient of x says we go down this side of our thing, which means that the largest number will be positive. So of these two factors, 3 and 11, 11 is the largest number. Because this is positive, the 11 goes with the plus and the 3 goes with the minus. That's all there is to it. So that is the flow chart that will help you find which number is going to be negative and which is going to be positive.